You are about to spend $2,000 on the wrong edit. Not a bad editor, not a scam. The wrong service at the wrong stage on a manuscript that was not ready for it. And you will not find out until the file comes back to you and you realize you paid someone to fix commas in a chapter your ARC readers will tell you to delete, except they'll say it in your reviews publicly. I have been a book editor for 5 years. I have worked across fiction and nonfiction, and I can tell you, most writers who come to me have already made at least one of these mistakes. So here's what you're getting in the next 8 minutes. We'll dissect 4 mistakes I see constantly. For each one, I'm going to tell you what it looks like from my side of the desk, why smart writers keep making it, and what exactly to do instead. By the end, you will know when your manuscript is actually ready, which of the 4 editing services you actually need, how to vet an editor before you pay them a dime, and how to get more out of the process once you're in it. Let's get into it. The number one thing I see writers get wrong is hiring at the wrong stage of the manuscript. And it goes both directions. Some writers send me a true first draft, the one that poured out of them over the course of 6 months, often at 2 in the morning. And I love that energy, I really do. But you are about to pay professional rates for notes you could have found yourself with just one more pass. Then there's the other end. Writers who have revised 15 times, run it past 12 beta readers, and are so close to it they cannot see it anymore. By that point, they are not looking for editorial feedback. They're looking for someone to tell them it's finished. And that is not editing either. That is reassurance, and it's a very expensive way to buy it. The sweet spot is this. You hire an editor when you have done everything you know how to do and you've hit a wall. That's when you can feel that something is not working, but you can't name it. At this point is when you ask yourself, can I name 3 specific problems in this book? Not the middle is slow. I mean, chapter 14 has no tension because my protagonist already got what she wanted in chapter 12. If you can name 3, at that level, revise them yourself first. If you genuinely cannot name those 3, but the book still feels off, that's your signal. That is when an editor is worth every dollar. Because I have reviewed this and I can tell I have some blind spots, and I'm tired of looking at this are 2 very different things. And only one of them means you're ready. Mistake 2, and this is the one that costs the most money. Writers do not know which type of editing they actually need. Proofreading feels like the finish line. It is the last one on the list, and it's often the cheapest. Hiring it feels like saying, my book is basically done. So some authors like to reach for it first. Meanwhile, their manuscript has a structural problem in Act 2. There are 4 services and they happen in this order. Developmental, big picture, structure, character arcs, pacing, plot holes. This is where chapter reorganizing and scene cutting or adding happens. It's also where we might combine, strengthen, or eliminate entire characters. A lot can happen during a developmental edit. Line editing, your prose, rhythm. This is where she walked slowly across the room, feeling nervous about what she was going to say, becomes she crossed the room. She had not decided what to say. It's the same information, but it's a completely different reading experience and a change that needed to happen to match the tone of the scene. Copy editing, grammar, punctuation, consistency, continuity. This is where we catch that your character's eyes were green in chapter 3 and brown in chapter 12, and that you have spelled her sister's name 2 different ways. Proofreading, the final pass. Typos, formatting, the things that survived everything else. You would not paint a house with a cracked foundation. This is the same idea. If your structure is broken, a beautiful sentence in chapter 9 is a beautiful sentence in a chapter you're about to cut. So, when you inquire about services, be honest about where the book actually is, what kind of revisions you've actually done, and what feedback you've gotten from critique partners and alpha and beta readers. And here's the green flag. A good editor will tell you what your manuscript actually needs, even when that is not what you came in asking for. If an editor takes your money for a proofread without asking a single question about your revision history, that tells you something. Mistake 3, not vetting your editor. And I'm including myself in this. You should absolutely vet me. Writers skip this because asking feels rude. You are the one asking for help. The editor is the professional, and questioning their process feels like you're being difficult before you've even started. So people sign, pay, and hope. Here are 3 things to ask for. A sample edit. Most professional editors offer one on your first few pages, sometimes for free, sometimes for a small fee. Golden Editorial offers this for line edits, copy edits, and proofreading. Sample edits are useful because not only do they show you how their editing style approaches your unique author voice, but it also shows you how they think and how they phrase criticism. There's a real difference between a margin note that says confusing and one that says, I lost track of who's speaking here. Is this still Marcus? One of those you can act on. Genre experience. Editing a literary novel and editing a romantasy are not the same job. Ask what genres the editor specializes in. Their process. How do they deliver feedback? What is the turnaround? Ask before you sign anything. And here is your real signal. A good editor is not offended by your questions. If anything, they're relieved. A writer who asks these questions is a writer who cares about their story. In my eyes, once mutual expectations are set, the working relationship will go far more smoothly. Last one, treating the editor relationship as transactional, when it is actually one of the most collaborative creative relationships you will have as a writer. The transactional mindset sounds like this. You send the file, I send it back with comments and track suggestions, and we're done. It's safe and simple, but the best author-editor relationships I've had are the ones where the writer pushed back. Here's what that looks like, and it happens more than you would think. I will flag a scene as slow, and the author comes back and says, no, the pacing is deliberate. She is stalling because she does not want to have this conversation. And often the author is right, duh. But if I read it as slow instead of as stalling, that means something is not landing on the page yet. When an author sees a piece of feedback they disagree with, I always encourage them to sit with it for a moment and consider the core issue. Often, like with the example we just used, I'm telling the author, I see what you're going for here, and this is what I'm getting instead. And authors read that as, my editor just isn't getting it. Nope. We're actually trying to help what you're going for actually translate to the reader. That is the work. Your editor identifies the symptom. Often, they'll recommend the cure, but sometimes an author needs to develop their own. But in order for that to happen, sometimes the author needs to communicate with the editor and dig deeper into the feedback. So, be honest about what you want out of the service, and be honest when a note does not sit right. Communicate with an open mind and a clear sense of your own voice. Know what you're willing to change and what is non-negotiable. That clarity makes it easier for both of us. So, to recap, the mistakes I see most often are starting at the wrong stage, not knowing which type of editing you need, skipping the vetting process, and treating it as a transaction instead of a collaboration. If you avoid these 4 things, you are already ahead of most writers. If you're new here, hi, welcome. This is my first long-form video, but I've been posting short editing and publishing tips over on my shorts for a while now. So if you have not checked those out yet, they're a great place to start. I will be posting videos like this every week. So if that sounds like your kind of content, subscribe and come hang out. I would love to have you here. See you next week.